Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the BOCC statutory meeting. Today's date is Tuesday, August 25th, and the time is 9:02 a.m. We will call this meeting in order. First up, we have the Pledge of Allegiance. Trish, do you want to lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will take attendance, beginning with Trish.
Trish Turner.
Brendan Hirsch.
Paula McFeeters.
Sorry, trying to jump ahead of you. Zach Swearingen.
Miles Lucero.
Thank you to everybody else in attendance. Are there any modifications to today's agenda?
There are none.
We'll ask for a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. That'll bring us into public comment. We've got a few folks listed, so as always, well, we should be reaching our limit today, so we'll read these names off and hopefully everybody that signed up on here is actually intending to speak. First up, we've got Stephen Trujillo, and then Jason after Stephen, and Jen after Jason. And please just state your names for the records when you come up and try and keep it to 3 minutes.
You got it. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Stephen Trujillo, Executive Director of the Housing Authority of the City of Pueblo, but coming to you today on behalf of the newly formed Aspen Acres Recovery Team. And I wanted to just take a moment this morning to share with you how this team has now formed. They're coming together and what the focus is for the long-term recovery of our communities that have been impacted by this fire. ART was created with the simple idea that our impacted residents and communities should not have to navigate this recovery process alone, and that not only is it immediate needs, but it's the long term over the next 2 to 5 years that we're really looking at. What has developed in this particular piece is truly a community-wide effort of bringing together residents, businesses, nonprofit organizations, government agencies, faith-based organizations, and community leaders that have a shared commitment to help those communities recover and rebuild, most importantly. Today, we have approximately over 70 individuals that are now represented on that role, with over 38 different organizations that are involved in the effort. What I am particularly proud of is that this isn't just a group of the organizations coming to the table, but they're truly focused on trying to move that table to all of the different impacted areas of the Aspen Acres footprint. And so this particular team comes together and asks that question, what can we do to help? Not only today, but what can we do in the long term? And we know that we have seen an outpouring of support, but we also still have an outpouring of needs that continue to hover over our communities in this impacted area. So this organization, this group, this effort, as we call it, ART, is formed into 8 different groups, and you have a printout at your seat. Those different groups are communications and marketing, housing and construction, disaster case management, emotional and spiritual support, recovery assistance center, or the RAC as we call it, relief fund team, the business support team, and the unmet needs team. All of these teams are coming together to begin identifying what the needs are, connecting resources, hopefully help to eliminate any duplication efforts, and most importantly, make sure that we begin to listen to those voices of the residents that are impacted and begin to formulate that long-term recovery piece. We are now meeting weekly, and we are intentionally rotating those meetings around to the different impacted communities. This hopefully allows for us to also see firsthand what those impacts are and have a different set of views when we come to the table for discussion. Our goal is not simply to respond to what was lost, but to help restore, to help rebuild, and certainly to help strengthen in the long haul and advocate for the needs of our Southern Colorado communities that were impacted, which includes Custer County as well. This effort encompasses Custer County. We're working to also follow the best practices. This is not something that was new. Unfortunately, other disasters across our country have provided a model for us to follow in this particular work. And we know that the recovery will also not happen overnight, but this commitment that these individuals and organizations have made is truly for the long haul. So I just wanted to take a moment here to share that with you, to share that this group is forming. You can go to the website, aartsoco.com. There's an intake form there that residents can begin to fill out to begin the disaster case recovery management piece. And I want to thank you, the county commissioners, for your continued support. Thank, most importantly, the individuals, the over 70 individuals and 38 organizations that are represented as a part of this effort, because certainly this is more than just recovering from the fire, but is helping the communities recover their sense of stability, their connection, and most of all, their hope to a strong and vibrant Southern Colorado. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
Thank you,
Uh,
sir.
Jason, and then Jen, and then Colleen after Jen.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Jason Fidencio Martinez Sr., and I've come to you today
to actually see if you can release the burn permit or the burn ban that's on most of Pueblo, or at least lift it off of some of the areas, maybe like Blend or Avondale, some areas that we have burn permits, because we have an excess amount of weeds right now, goat heads, all kinds of crabgrass, everything over there that hasn't been taken care of because of this Aspen Acres fire and everything that's happened. So I would just ask the commissioners to maybe relieve some of those restrictions on some areas, just so that we can take care of our yards and our weeds and stuff. And also to the families of the two officers that got shot, I just give it up to them. Our prayers and
Absolutely.
thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we've got Jen and Colleen, and then after Colleen, Wendy.
My name is Jen Way. I'm a resident of Beulah, Colorado, and I'm here today with one ask. Give us dates. When I moved to Beulah in 2020, that town gave me its trust before it ever knew my name. No resume, no proving myself, no asking what political party I belong to. Just you're here now and you're one of us. That's who these people are, and it's why I'm standing here right now. On Sunday, the governor formally requested the major disaster declaration. The Army Corps of Engineers is being sent to assess flood mitigation, and now we know that the AART exists. That's real progress, and I want to be clear on record, thank you. But a request is not a resolution. It's not deadlines. It's not reimbursement for the families who have spent thousands of their own money on gas alone to run machines to clear their driveways so they can get to town and replace everything they own. On Monday, a dozen private businesses mobilized in less than 24 hours. The Beulah Fire Department has been on the ground every single day, and the community has met every moment of this disaster. I am now asking you to do the same. Last week, this county said it could no longer cover demolition fees. But you stand here and ask for $900,000 a year for surveillance cameras that most of your county does not even want. I hope that sits with you the same way it sits with us. Last week, I sat with a woman who couldn't speak about her home without crying. Her dad built that house. Most of Beulah's residents have lived there their whole lives. This isn't property, it's memory. And we've been sitting here for 57 days waiting. So here's what I'm asking today specifically. A public timeline for the process. A clear answer on reimbursement for residents and businesses who have carried this cost on their own backs. We're not here as your opposition. We're here as your evidence that this county can move fast when it wants to. You've seen it. I'm asking you all to match it. Give Beulah exact dates. We'll be watching and we'll be very grateful when you do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Colleen, and then Wendy, and then Leslie after that. And I think if people can wait around until after our meeting, it shouldn't be super long. But then we can address a lot of these then as well.
Done, situated. Okay. Good morning. I'm Colleen Daisy Weeks, and my father is Bill Payton. Sorry. I could talk quickly or I could talk slowly. I could talk quickly and be 3 minutes, or I could talk slowly and make my point. We both lost our homes through the fire. I'm going to tell you my personal story, but first I want to ask you something. What can we do to help you help us? I want to help you in any way that I can to let you be the leaders and representatives that we voted for and we supported in the first place. I want to help you. I want you to keep these questions in mind as I share with you my quick, sad story, adding my voice to that of my neighbors. My dad is 82 and has lived in Beulah Valley for 6.5 years, not as long as a lot of people. He has painstakingly maintained and loved that property. His plan was to live out the rest of his days in paradise, leaving it to his descendants and me He was fiercely independent and a bit of a hermit. He was very happy. And now for the next year, Dad will be living in a small apartment in Colorado Springs. He hates the city and being dependent on me for nearly everything. And I'm also displaced. A year and a half ago, I became very sick. I sold my house, quit my job, my teaching job, bought a fifth wheel, moved it to my dad's property, and sunk every last penny into remodeling and improving it so that it could be my paradise as well. The plan was for me to live out the rest of my own days in that paradise as well. I lived outside Beulah for only a year, and when people came to visit, they always marveled at the beauty and the maintenance. It was always clean, toilet paper stocked, everything beautiful. Made me so proud to hear my friends say that about my new home, confirming that I made the right choice to move there. A couple of weeks after the fire, a Pueblo County official came to speak with us regarding a mandatory $100 demo permit, which I paid. Later, I learned that it was unnecessary for me to have done so, but which information is correct? And who do I depend on for accurate information? I'm lost. Now that I'm told that we need to clear out all the hazardous material in my property, and I do have the form. However, Dad can't do it. And in 6 weeks, I'm going to be listed for a lung transplant. I don't know who to ask. Not that I have any money to pay anybody to do it. It's about $10,000 to restore the property, and that's before rebuilding, because we want to stay. The knowledge The knowledge that there are other families who have it even worse than us breaks my heart. I know that there are resources right here. And I know that there are needs, but we need to make the connections between the resources and the needs. What I see is that we've had 3 tragedies, not just one. First the fire, then the flooding, and the unnecessary death. The third tragedy is the desertion that I feel from our leaders. We are like a raft without the wind and the doldrums of a vast ocean, and we have no direction and no supplies. Finally, I want to thank you for whatever you've done, but also let you know that it's not understood. Please give us some assurance, some direction, and like Jen said, some deadlines, some proof that you're listening and you're there for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Wendy and then Leslie and then Mike after that.
Good morning, commissioners. That's a tough act to follow. I came here this morning because I wanted to give you an update on the ordinance on 36 Lane and how it's working. I went out there yesterday morning to watch trucks like I have done for 10 years. And the first one that came through was at a United Corporation truck. They came down South Road, and let's be very mindful. South Road is a major thoroughfare for the parents taking their kids to the Vineland schools. I mean, you can see 30, 50 cars in the morning going there that direction. He was hauling 3 conveyor belts going up to the pit. They were extended almost 10 feet past the end of the truck with no safety equipment on that. I remember that from 50 years ago. That was the question I missed on the driving test, the flag, the red flag. So I followed him up to the pit. They were speeding. So I went in and I asked for the pit manager, and we had quite the conversation. He told me that the signs, because I referred to their signs on the exit going out of the pit about the time restrictions, he said, well, that's only for trucks leaving. Well, it's not for trucks leaving. And I told him that the ordinance was in conjunction with condition number 9 of the SUP. And did he understand that or know anything about it? He said that's not his responsibility, nor was the truck, because he's not a truck manager. He was speeding. He had no safety equipment. He used an alternate route, which is part of condition 9, no alternate routes. So yes, it's working in front of the school. They are stopping. They are not running. But boy, let me tell you, what happens at 8:05 is crazy. I saw one of them absolutely blow through the stop sign at 8:05. Took a video of it. I sent it to Commissioner Lucero. To vacate condition number 9 of the SUP is a request from United Corporation through the planning department, and it needs to be brought to you for a public hearing. So that condition is still functional. So I asked Commissioner Lucero this morning that we send some more information back to United. After 10 years, these companies, which is now the 5th company that has owned that pit, and those violations go all the way back 30 years. The first one was done within the very first year of the time restriction 30 years ago. They're not getting it. If we make rules, if we have hearings, if we do things that we're supposed to do, and I'm seeing this with the people in Beulah, and then it falls at the county level that we don't enforce these rules, we don't follow the statutes, we don't do what we promised the community we're going to do. Why? Why do we do it? Why do we have it? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Leslie and then Mike and then Lena as the last speaker for today.
Hi, I'm Leslie. I want to know why the highway was not shut down on February 17th. 5 people died. My husband is still injured and nothing's been done. Why didn't it get shut down? They shut it down in Walsenburg every single time. Today is the first day I've seen a state patrol between exit 88 and town. First time in 6 to 8 months. There is no state patrol on that thing, and all they would have had to do is put up a sign and say, heavy winds, slow down. They didn't. They had a 3-day warning on this. The news said 3 days before, 70-mile-an-hour winds on the I-25 corridor. I want to know why nothing was done.
Thank you. Mike and then Lena.
Well, Mike, the point she's trying to make is that when there's a disaster, Pueblo does not do anything. They don't help. They're not helping Beulah really. People are out there 80, 70 years old doing sandbags by themselves. They need help. Our house didn't get burned, luckily. But a lot of our friends lost everything. And these fees, thank you to Grandview Baptist Church for the donation. Okay, now these people are paying fees. Is this coming out of the Grandview? Is this $100 per person going to the Pueblo? Y'all are worried about your revenue. They didn't close the highway because of a $600,000 loss in revenue. Is that worth 5 lives? Pueblo needs to step up. These people vote for you. You know, it's a bunch of crap. You all sit at home in your nice houses, get your pockets full. It's not just you guys. I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming Pueblo. They need to step up and help people. The mayor don't answer her phone. They probably wouldn't be in such a deficit or trouble if she didn't waste all that money on her little office. That's another thing. Spend it on people that need it. There's homeless people. There's all kinds of things going on. Lower the foods, the gas, control the gas people. Can't pay for gas. Gas is more than electricity now. Everything is ridiculous. I'm sure you guys see it. If you got more money, you guys can afford it. Well, Oh, and then the fire restrictions in Rye. Why were they lifted? I don't understand that. We just went through Aspen Fire. That doesn't make sense. I just seen this yesterday. Hmm. And I had one more question. Our horses were confiscated by animal control, whoever they are, after they were taken to the state fair. Our horses were fine when they were at home. One of them requires diabetes food, which they will not administer no medicines. They need to change this policy. You can't put a person in the hospital that's gonna die if they don't take their heart medicine. It's the same thing. A horse is a person. And anyway, I lost my horses. Now I'm wondering if that money has any ties with the revenue of Pueblo. Because they wanted $1,400 for me to get my horses back by the end of business day, which I didn't have. Who has $1,400 to throw away? Felix Jimenez. He's a real jerk. He works for the county. Anyway, I was just wondering about that.
Thank you. And then Lane will be our last speaker today.
My name is Lana Woodruff. I live in Beulah. I was one of the fortunate ones whose home did not burn. However, I now have floodwater coming to the bottom step of my back deck. Prior to the fire and the floods, I was not in the flood zone, but Army Corps of Engineers has said that was pre-fire. You are now in the flood zone. I know that the county has already given us many dumpsters, which were very well used, but that is about to end. And I just wonder, what are we supposed to do with all this debris? And mainly, this has been people from Beulah that have been cleaning up and the religious organizations that have helped us. So we need more county help. And I know you hear this all the time. But if you want to come to my house on one of these flood warning days and sit on the deck and see what it's like to have a raging river right below your bedroom window, the image of that is pretty amazing and pretty unnerving. And I understand that's going to go on for years. So we're going to need your help for more than just a month or two or through next spring's runoff. People asked me today to also ask if there is a deadline for cleaning up their properties, people who did lose their properties in the fire, because we have older people who are still living in hotels and motels, and they don't really have a way to go about cleaning this up. So if we know that, and specifics such as, again, what do we do with all this debris? What do we do with the concrete from foundations that have been destroyed? I mean, we can't put them along the creek banks because they're going to get washed down in there again. So if you could continue to give us some grace and some support, we so need it. And I am one of those 70 plus people, 70-year-old plus people who have been filling sandbags. And it's a struggle. It's truly a struggle. Your compassion would be appreciated.
Thank you. We only have a couple topics today, so if y'all don't mind, let us get through these and then we'll I for one am going to address everything, and I'm sure my colleagues will as well. So we'll get through our regular agenda and meeting issues, and then we'll address a lot of the concerns raised today. that'll bring us to Pueblo County Treasurer Statement of Fees collected for July 2026 and the Pueblo County Public Trustee Quarterly Report for the second quarter of 2026. And I will ask for a motion to accept and file these reports.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes, and that'll bring us into our consent agenda. Mr. Hirsch.
Yeah, one item 4A is a resolution amending the 2026 election intergovernmental agreement between Pueblo County, Colorado on behalf of the Pueblo County Clerk and Recorder and Edison Fire Protection District and clarifying the applicability of the Uniform Election Code.
Did anybody from the clerk's office have anything specifically on it?
Gavin Woolney's here if you'd like to get a little elaboration.
Hi there, Commissioners. This was placed on consent just because in discussions with the Secretary of State's office about basically ballot auditing equipment, they wanted some clarifying language in this IGA just for their review of clerk's office IGAs. And so we've reached out to Edison School District Fire Protection District, and they have no objections, and it's simply clarifying the applicability of the Uniform Election Code over the Municipal Election Code.
Great. You guys got anything?
Nothing for me.
Great. I will ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. That'll bring us into our regular agenda.
The next item 5A is a resolution approving an amendment to the professional services agreement between McPherson, Goodrich, Palucci, and Milkek PC and Pueblo County, Colorado.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Yes, sir.
You have the resolution is pretty straightforward. We're not changing the work, the scope, anything, the team, the rates, or anything within it, just changing the maximum amount in that. We've ran into challenges through this year, and I think the original engagement was prepared back in October of 2025 for the work this year. And since then, we've had, numerous operational changes, shortages in the department, many things that have added to this. Also, it's hard to estimate at that time what we might face with the workday conversion. This is the first year-end work and audit, in the new system. I think, all of the work is completely reasonable, necessary to do what we need to do, not, we have a really good option outside of continuing this engagement to finish our, year-end financials and audit work for the year. Request that you amend the professional services agreement to new maximum total of 400,000 for the year.
What was the original amount, Craig?
It was 200,000. Yeah. But again, hard to anticipate the things you might run into, and then that work substantially changed. I think, as our staffing level changed and shortages through the year, so.
Greg, I have a question, sir. Once we get through the 25 close and 25 audits, will this firm be engaged in activities in your department beyond that? And what are those activities?
I would like to think we engage a firm. I don't know the specific firm, but there have been good partners to the county over the years, I believe. And yes, with the hiring of the controller and accountants internally and a lot of things we're doing, we hope this is a much, the scope is a lot more limited. That, they're weren't necessarily engaged to do what they're doing today. We're using them like internal accountants because we haven't had that presence recently. So future scope definitely a lot more limited, working more on just year-end financial statements, hopefully in a reviewer role rather than a doer. That you don't necessarily intend to do reconciliations for us. It's mostly putting, packaging our information, helping us compile that for the annual comprehensive financial report and audit prep. It's this engagement is a lot more involved given the workday conversion and just accounting staff shortages.
Thank you, sir. With this doubling of the contract amount, does the appropriation live within the budget and finance department? Can you absorb that, or do you foresee the need for an appropriation from a different cost center?
I think we would definitely have to look at appropriations and true up for a number of reasons, this being one of them. We've been short-staffed, so there's some available budget, but we also have some moves, with payroll moving to HR. Depending on what budget follows those employees. We'll have some true ups to make. We have, this isn't just an office of the budget item. It has historically been booked there, but it's a countywide, a shared service essentially. So I think between the other administration cost center, there's some professional services budget available there. We'll find a way, it's within current appropriation, but we need to address it before year end. We'll need to make some adjustments to appropriations to cover this and, recent staffing changes.
So question for the county attorney, is that satisfactory if we believe the dollars exist within the general fund, maybe not within the budget and finance cost center? Are we fulfilling our statutory obligation to, not spend without appropriating?
I would like more specificity, I think, before we would approve it. It sounds like we might have money. We can't pinpoint where specifically it's at. I think to be safe, maybe we table it, come back with specifics of where that money's coming from. And that would be my advice.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I feel like we're starting to do a better job, right, of making sure we're not spending without appropriating. I agree with you that, the money does exist somewhere within the budget. We must do this, but in order to change our practice, I think it's important to define where we believe those dollars are coming from prior to approving this contract. And so that would be
Okay.
my recommendation. Do you think
Yeah.
that can be identified by Thursday?
I do think we can do this specifically by Thursday. I also am aware of multiple millions of dollars of the same circumstance that should be cleared up with the budget amendment. Our entire budget
Yes, sir.
has this issue beyond, multiple $1 million. This one, I do think we need to come up with a way to keep this firm engaged. The next 2 weeks are critical to, finishing our work and then the audit work. We have to give them time to maintain the deadline going through, even our working deadline, the end of September, maybe through mid-October. The consequence is not having that and facing, the potential hold of tax dollars from the state auditor's office to, directing that to the treasurer's office. So in practice, we don't really have an option to not continue this work. We do have the option to formalize something quickly, but I do recommend continuing this engagement. And, we'll tell you that the next 2 weeks internally are critical for us to get our work done so that the auditors can really start their work.
Chief, I would just add to what the commissioner's saying and our attorney, we just need you to line out where those dollars are coming from in a really simple spreadsheet, what account, how much money is available, and let's work on getting that done. But I think in the future, what we need to see is the path forward in the budget we currently have to fund the request.
Agreed.
So-
The 2026 adopted budget, if you remember when that was passed, we knew it was unworkable through the year. There were a whole lot of items and likely multiple amendments. It was my thoughts, and I know I expressed that to you through the year, that the budget was not in a place that is workable, and that stands in every department across every, the county. This isn't a limited issue, and I wish I had a, better answer, but until we do a budget amendment to formalize so many of the things that we've talked about that fix these appropriation issues, I think this one has to be an action that we assume is important and has to happen.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have been better about identifying, or at least our plan to identify. So I think we need to start off on that foot, especially with this contract. So, I mean, 2 days is not gonna give them cold feet.
No,
correct?
they've been continuing to, again, we hit this maximum, close to the end of June, essentially, and they're just working in good faith, assuming, the county's going to do what we need to do, and they're working hard to help us, do what we need to do to stay compliant. I, have to hope that'll continue, and I don't think 2 days, do a lot of harm there. Maybe we can bring something back to reappropriate or reallocate funding.
I mean, you can point them back to this meeting and the recognition that we all know that this needs to happen. It's just identifying where those dollars are coming from.
Okay.
So, guys, good? We'll table till Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will ask for a motion to table item 5A until Thursday's meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. That'll bring us into commissioner comments. I can start to address some of the concerns raised, and then I've only got a couple smaller things, and then I will reserve my right to interject afterwards, if need be, if I forgot something. So burn restrictions, talking to the sheriff, said he lifted them and moved to stage 1. But I can get we can publicize that better and get that out there. But that's addressing your comments, sir. And then the demo permit fees, we've been going back and forth a little bit with this. I brought it up again last week for the potential to waive those. We reduced them from what they once were down to $100 initially. The reason why and I was, I wasn't completely sold on demo permit fees in general beforehand, but as it was explained to us by our building department, the biggest issue again with demo permit fees is utilities and going in and out of utilities and making sure your gas and your water and everything are good. So that is taking our resources as far as sending staffing there. The $10,000 that again we are very, very grateful for that was donated to us was to help subsidize those costs on the demo permit fees, because when I had spoken with the gentleman that runs that organization, at that point we had done 117 demo permit fees. We were thinking with the $10,000 that would almost get us across the line to cover everybody else, realizing that insurance should pick up a lot of those as well. I realize that insurance can be a nightmare to deal with, and you go back and forth, and it can be lump sums at the end. So you have to pull out of pocket, initially. So I was going to bring that up this week to, in essence, draw down that 10 grand to where that balance is 0, and then look at waiving any additional demo permit fees following that. So we still have, I talked to Jen last week who works over in our planning department, and she had said that $10,000 is not exhausted at all. So there should be money in there to cover these demo permit fees right now. So just when you go to pull those, just confirm that is the case, that it should be covered underneath the $10,000 that was given to us. If anybody has any issues, we all have we are all very easy to contact. I can leave my phone number with anybody. And my office is right down that hallway. Jake is my administrator, and he can give you a card, and you can reach out to me if you guys have any issues with anything in regards with that. The public timeline, I agree with you. And we've brought that up in the past, and Miles asked, I think last week, somebody who came in, what can we do better to better get that information out there? And I think what we have kind of come to, and I was down in Colorado City this weekend talking with some people, and I told them what we are going to try and do now is Josh Johnson is in the back row here, and he's going to brief us up. We were doing every executive session, and now we've moved to once a week on fire recovery. And what we are going to do is take all pertinent information and again, put it out on our Facebook and our website and everything, realizing not everybody looks at that. But we're going to put paper copies at physical paper copies at locations up where you guys are at, so that you can, check information or debunk bad information that inevitably goes out. So we're going to do that. There is frustration in this board, I can tell you for sure, with looking to other partnering organizations, state and federal, especially to try and get us some more accurate timelines and, quite frankly, just information on what's going to be hopefully coming to us for reimbursements. Go ahead. Yeah, you can come up into the microphone real quick.
When will all those paper copies be down there? Because that's the biggest gap in the information. the community center, the post office, the general store. These are the places that those people go at least once a day. Paper copies and a big sign, information you need, that would be an exact solution to a problem down there for sure. When will that be done?
We were thinking Wednesday, Josh, if that's still good.
Like,
Be able to-
like tomorrow?
So I've got a draft that I will hand you as soon as this meeting ends of kind of like what I was thinking. The commissioners haven't seen it, so you need to get their approval, of course. If you have feedback, you can share it with us, and then we can get them up to Chief Ware for distribution as soon as tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool.
And I can ask you, once you look at this, and I'll be citing some of the numbers when I make my comments, if you have feedback on what's missing from here, what lingering questions still remain, then you can give me that feedback. I can try to incorporate it.
Awesome. I'll let everybody know that there will be information available tomorrow with some exact details, right? Like exactly what you guys have coming and what resources are there. That's what you're saying right now.
Yeah, I do think we need to temper expectations though, because when we talk about what's coming, I don't want the community of Beulah to think that one day everybody is going to get a check, whether it be from the county or the state or the federal government, to say, here's $500,000, go ahead and rebuild your home, you're going to be made whole. That is very, very unlikely to happen. I mean, it's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. So, that we need to temper those expectations. When you talk about timelines, we can give you timelines for the things that the federal government has approved, the projects that we are working on. We can give you timelines for those things, but to think that there's going to come a moment where all of this influx of cash comes, we really need to temper those expectations.
I need to apologize if you think that we're asking for checks. We're asking for able-bodied men to fill the sandbags instead. We're asking for them to drive the trucks to the houses and put them where they need to go so that more flood water doesn't come in our houses. We're not asking for checks. Nobody has their hand out. And most of Beulah is not here because they're too proud to even ask you. We're not asking for checks, sir. And I apologize if that's the impression that I've given. We're asking for hands so that she doesn't have to fill her own sandbags anymore. As a matter of fact, we need concrete barriers. Sandbags aren't even doing it, y'all. That's the problem. They're getting washed down the river and then we have to go retrieve them and then fill. We're not asking for checks, sir.
Understood, ma'am. And certainly didn't mean to, imply that there's an ask for a handout. I think in regard to can I ask you, have you watched our meetings over the last couple of weeks? I know not everybody tunes in, and that's, an genesis for why we need to get more, paper information up there. But have you watched our meetings over the last couple of weeks?
No, sir. I've been busy in Beulah.
So I'll kind of reiterate one of the big things in play right now. That's a program called the Emergency Watershed Protection Program through the USDA, the federal USDA. They came, did a site analysis, did some modeling on the computer, along with county staff, along with engineering firms, and they recommended a portfolio of 200 roughly public and private projects to the tune of about $17 million that the county is the fiscal sponsor. So the county will begin knocking out those projects. Hopefully within the next month, we'll start, getting engineering plans and then actual infrastructure built. Those are the more long-term robust fixes so that Pine Drive water doesn't, ingest soot every time it rains. A big point that folks need to understand is that the money that the county has expended up to this point and the money that the county will have to expend to complete those projects, even on a 75% reimbursement, that money does not exist. We don't have a robust general fund to say, we can just, we'll just dip into our reserves for this emergency moment. Every dollar we spend is a dollar that was unbudgeted. So for the initial fire response and the dumpsters up to this point, the porta potties that the county's provided, we spent about over $250,000 of unbudgeted dollars. I will say, I think our our fire emergency deployment line has about $30,000 in it. So those are dollars that are unbudgeted for, and they're not dollars that we can just say, we'll pull out of reserves. So that's $250,000. That's a small number relative to the $17 million number we're looking at. Now, I'm talking 75% reimbursement, but we still have to upfront $17 million worth of infrastructure projects. Again, the money just doesn't exist. So when you talk about, sending the county resources up there to do things, I guess we could ask our road and bridge guys to take off Thursday and Friday and, ignore the roads throughout the entire network of the county, ignore Pueblo West, ignore Rye, to go fill sandbags. But
How about the National Guard?
are we truly serving the whole community if we do that?
How about the National Guard?
Yes, ma'am, that is completely on the table, but it's not.
I'm asking
it's
you
not-
guys to get as mad as we are. That's all, team. I'm asking you to start screaming at them because they're not, I know your budgets are out and nobody's standing here trying to argue with you about your budgets. We're looking for, and when I say Wednesday, are you gonna just make sure the information is delivered? I'm not saying I expect you to have people there tomorrow. They don't know what's available to them because those paper copies, guys. This is the solution.
And again, our plan was to try, and I'll let Josh touch on this too. And yes, that's why I was saying earlier, the frustration on this board exists, with partnering governments. Because obviously the three board of county commissioners can't call on the National Guard, but we do have the tools to try and advocate, for that to happen. Josh, did you have some?
I was just going to say, commissioners, my recommendation is, since I meet with you on Tuesdays, that once you've seen the report that I give you, you approve it. Then I give it to Stephen with the art, and they have a whole communications team. They can put it in that flyer that we've talked about. What we thought would be at first a monthly flyer is not often enough.
Correct.
Maybe we make it weekly at first. Maybe it's an every other week. But to capture those folks who maybe don't watch the news or don't have social media, we can get it to Beulah, to the coffee shop, to the fire station. And so then there's a physical copy. So my recommendation is we meet on Tuesday.
Right.
You've seen the report, you're okay with it. I can give it to the art because I sit on that group as well. And then their media team can produce however many, make it look pretty in a brochure, kind of here's the weekly flyer, here's the weekly update, and then get it, copies to those locations for the community who prefers paper copies. So I was going to recommend that to you today and then bring it up to Stephen.
Okay.
If we're good with
Sounds
that
good.
approach.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. May I just, in a moment, Commissioner? I want to just give you all a gratitude for coming today from Beulah to express what you've been experiencing. We as a board don't take it lightly, the impacts of this incident. And I want to say that it is something that our whole community feels. We recognize there are challenges in communication. And I think I've felt that from the very beginning of this fire, that no matter how we communicate, no matter what we do, it seems like we miss things. And it's something we've definitely learned. But from a human aspect of watching this, I have many friends that live in Beulah, some that have lost their homes, some that have been affected by flooding. I think each of us have been affected personally. And I want to say thank you for coming today to express the human side of this tragedy that many in our community don't understand or relate to, maybe not connected to. Particularly, I want to give thanks to you, Stephen, for coming. I talked to you last week about what the art's doing and the importance of that information getting into the hands of the residents, because I will fully admit to you as a member of this board, we can only do so much at the government level. It does require partnership with private agencies, nonprofits, those in our community that have the resources to come help you. I have said this from the very beginning, if you're waiting on the government to come to your aid, it's going to be a while. And I see that because we've been frustrated. But a few things that I've tried to do in this job, and I know each of our commissioners have done this. I've been to Beulah. I've sat with the Pine Water District to figure out how to get water after 6.5 weeks to people on that water system, to work with Beulah Water to partner, to get those relationships going. I've been up there to see Samaritan's Purse doing the exact thing you're talking about for those who cannot do the work. We've got many nonprofits doing that work. The connections are there to get those nonprofits engaged. We need to do a better job of communicating. The USDA grant the commissioner mentioned for the watershed is a huge lift for us. We got the grant, But to come up with $4 million to match the 17, that's our challenge. We have to figure that out. And it's real. The Army Corps of Engineers coming on Monday, yesterday, was a huge lift. We supported them coming. We've done everything we know to do. And my heart is broken for Beulah because I know it's not going to be enough. And setting expectations is that we're doing what we can do to help you, but we recognize without community support and other help, that won't get you whole. But we're going to try to do everything we can. And Stephen, you're coming today to present what the art team's doing. I hope you bring back to them what you've heard today. I hope you bring back the needs that are right now to that team. And I think it's very timely that you came today. I also want to let you know, we are in the process. The governor issued his letter of support for FEMA support on Sunday. Our letter is due soon. We've crafted a letter. This board will be sending a letter as well to support that request. When it comes to the many, many things that are done in a tragedy, I don't think any one of us was prepared for this. I don't think anybody in our community has seen a disaster at this level in a long, long time. And I just want to thank you for expressing your concerns. The incident you mentioned on the interstate, another tragedy that we're not prepared for. These kind of tragedies don't happen that often. And what we've learned is we have a lot of work to do to be prepared for such things. And a lot of frustration has come in because we don't know what a challenge it's going to be for us to get the wheels of government moving in the right direction to assist you. But our challenge right now is to get those resources to you, be they private, public, federal, local, state, doesn't matter to me. I've engaged as many nonprofit groups, churches, people that'll help. Josh has been great at consolidating resources, but I want you to know your county government has been working very hard. And I want to give a special thank you to our public works team, who every time it floods, they're up there moving water, moving dirt, moving what they can move. And no matter what we do, it's not enough. And I recognize that. But as a county commissioner, I want you to know I've learned a lot from this tragedy. I will continue to learn what we can do better. And this board will continue to work as hard as we can for you. And it's a service for us. It's seeing the humanity of what it's meant to you to be impacted. And I just want to say thank you for coming today. Your stories mean a lot to me to provide guidance about the needs, but also to engage the partners that can help you. And some of it's here and some of it's not. And that's our job, to get the word out. We will continue to work with you. Thank you, Josh, for being willing to be a resource publicly about what we've done and continue to do. Thank you to each of my commissioners. You've each done, in our unique ways, we've each done what we can. And I recognize it's not enough. And I'm sorry. I think the last word I would say is I'm sorry for the loss. I'm sorry for the friends that I've had that have lost their homes. And I'm not going to say it doesn't affect me personally. It does. I have my own stories I could tell you, but I'm not going to do that today. But commissioners, we will continue to work together. And I just wanted to say at the end of this thing, this is the hardest part of this job as a commissioner, is to see how government cannot do everything and what we need help with. And it comes down to the residents of Pueblo, Colorado pitching in and helping. And I'm asking for anybody watching who's not a resident of Beulah, if you have the help and resources and you can help our elderly neighbors, please engage, please volunteer, please be part of the solution that our whole communities are looking to you to do. That's the beauty of a community. We come together and we do the work together. So thank you. That's all I have to say about that.
Zach, can I make an ask real quick?
Sure.
I think it's time to start being a little more forward about the numbers. You're talking about federal money coming in. We have a huge fire now in Nevada that's going to start asking for federal money. We've got huge fires in Arizona and California that's going to be asking for money. So we are now one drop in that bucket for the federal government that's going to be asking for money. And you're saying that your portion of the 17 million is 4 million or whatever those numbers are. I think we need to be more open about where these numbers are, because I have sat here for years through budget meetings, and I know going into last year, we were cutting budgets. We ended up with a deficit. We're going to definitely have a deficit this year. And it seems like it's now turning into a shell game. We're going to borrow money here. We're going to borrow money here. We can do this if the federal government gives us money. Zach, you always say government moves at a snail's pace. Well, the federal government moves even slower. To get those dollars, you're probably looking at a minimum of 3 years. So I think we need to be a lot more open to the public. You just stated that, well, if we send more down there, that we don't have enough for roads here and public what. I think we all get that, but let's see the actual numbers that you are now facing, because those dollars and numbers come back to the taxpayers. You have no way to pull this money out of the county. The only way you have to pull out of the county, and this is government, federal, state government fees, taxes, and grants. That's the only place that government money comes from. So eventually that ask will be coming back to our community.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, real quickly, I'll wrap up my comments. Yeah, the I-25 situation, we are extremely sorry for what had happened. Again, we all have to, and what we can do to advocate for all of our constituents at the state and federal level, we do. But we all have to understand that there are certain roles and responsibilities that are dictated by those different organizations. I-25 is state, any highway in the state is CDOT. But again, I don't think that any amount of money is worth any life. So that excuse doesn't really fly. But again, we were in a reactive state at that point. Sir, did you have something really quick that you wanted to say?
Sorry I'm late. It was fire and flood related. Just 3 minutes. I swear it won't be over that. And
Okay, yeah, just state your name for the record.
my name is Paul Taft. I live in Beulah. I live on 8969 Squirrel Creek Road. Having problems getting rid of the flood and fire debris. I just came back from Colorado Springs to get some poly that was legal. Some of our Ely Mawson area institutions are handing out poly that's maybe 4 or 5 mil. That's not legal. I've been trained for 36 years on asbestos abatement. But more to the point, September 1st, county is no longer accepting payment, or the dump is no longer taking county payment. So what am I supposed to do? Because every rain, 2-3 times a week, I have more debris. And is it going to still be considered hazardous waste? Because that's made a huge burden on me. It cost me $75 per load to do the burrito wrap and tape, just in the poly I'm getting from Lowe's. That same trailer with just dirt and rocks and sticks is $22 a load if it's not hazardous materials. So what is the plan forward next Monday?
Just to clarify, any flood debris is not considered asbestos related. So if you're cleaning up flood debris, it's exactly what you just said. And that's what we've been advised. Flood debris is not the same as it. Flood debris. Well, if you're cleaning up a burned down property, that it needs to be wrapped, but flood debris is different.
That's what they're telling all of us.
Who's telling you?
Who's,
Josh, can you clarify this, please? I appreciate it.
again, and this is another reason why, I mean, there was information, no, you're fine. There was information being put out that like FEMA was buying houses. And so this is something that we, again, we're addressing with physical paper copies because everybody knows how rumors can start. Josh, go ahead.
So from the health department, if it's flood debris, you don't have to consider it as hazardous material. Out in the middle of the road, when it's being cleaned up your driveway, because it's been washed by the rain and all the flood waters, you don't have to double wrap and burrito and take it. And you should clarify with the dump that this is flood debris, not cleaning up your burnt down house debris. Now, again, if
anything in it, it's fire.
Who is saying that? Like when you go to the dump?
Bullet across the scales and they.
You and I can connect offline. I can give you the email from the health department, which should satisfy them. And while we can debate it all day, and it isn't, I mean, it came right off your property. It probably technically is, should be, but the health department has said if it's flood debris, doesn't have to be treated that way. Now, again, if you're cleaning up your burnt down house, it does have to be burrito wrapped, 6 mil, tape sealed, just as you mentioned. Trees is vegetative waste. A burnt down tree is not a hazmat because burnt down trees, I mean, that every campfire everywhere would have to be treated as a hazmat site. Yeah. So again, get with me offline. We can talk about it. I don't know how to type we keep delaying the commissioner's comments, but I can address that with you offline.
Okay, maybe you guys can do. Those are selling the 6 mil at $140 per 100 foot. I just went to Colorado Springs and I got it for $80 through a commercial.
The same, Lowe's does in Springs?
No, this is through a commercial.
Yeah.
I have a brother-in-law who does this in California. Got me some drop shipped.
Okay.
So I don't know, without spending money, let me get you bought some, and then we could buy it from you. You know, you get it out, and I can give you the information where you can get it and stuff.
Yeah, if you can get with Josh right after this, and then we can,
It helps.
right,
And I'm paying for everything out of pocket. I'm
Got
not
it.
expecting anything else, but it's just hurting me. Things are made more difficult.
okay. Yeah, we will get all of this information out, yep, as soon as possible. I mean, we've touched on a lot of this, our financial situation, where we're at, everything else. So again, we will continue to publicize information and through different mediums. And again, I would just echo what Paula said, Stephen, that thank you for being here and thank you for all the work that you're doing and everybody on that board. When this whole devastation started happening, just everybody didn't necessarily come out of the woodwork. They were already there. And everybody was offering to help. I mean, you even called me and just said, hey, where can I help? Where can I help? So we are certainly grateful to all the organizations out there that are continuing to provide services and help. And to Wendy's point, yeah, I've always advocated for us taking care of ourselves. And that's why I've always been such a staunch supporter of bringing business in, bringing development in, because I'm fully aware of where we receive money. And through property and sales tax, we can start bolstering our budget and just making our entire community more economically successful by bringing business in, by bringing development in, done in obviously a very strategic and intelligent way. But that is where we start taking care of ourselves, because when you go to state or fed, they can be the best partners in the world. But you're right, it takes a while if you even do get that assistance that you need. So we really do have to take care of ourselves. Last couple real quick things is just, again, was able to go over for the ice cream social last week over at the VA retirement home on 2600 Oakshire Lane. A lot of folks don't recognize that that is there. We have some of the best people that this country produces over there now. They are wonderful individuals. I took a picture of a guy's Lego collection that he'd spent. It's crazy, these Legos that he builds. It's very therapeutic for him. But there's just some really kind people over there. The staff is amazing. So if people are looking for worthy causes, that is certainly one. I met with some CSU baseball folks this weekend. And so we're really trying to bring people to them and bring them out to the community too. So food is always a good thing. We have some of the best food in the world and some local restaurants. So I know that they travel to restaurants, but even catering food to them is always a useful issue as well. CSU Pueblo football is this Thursday, and Pueblo Peppers in the hockey team, you know, changed from the Bulls, but they've got exhibition games this weekend. So we have some phenomenal organizations here that we would just like everybody to get out and support. You know, pales in comparison, obviously, to the tragedies that we've had in the fire and the flooding. But we need to continue to support local businesses and local organizations so they in turn can support all of us. So that's all I got.
One more thing for me, Commissioner. One of the speakers asked, how can you help us help you? The biggest question mark right now is that FEMA funding, right? The governor put together the package on behalf of the entire Custer County, Pueblo County, and there was actually other fires lumped into that request. What we need are letters of support. That request sits with the President of the United States. And right now, several of our congressmen and senators are doing a letter gathering campaign. So that is something I will include in our flyer and something that we can get out via social media, assuming you guys are okay with it. If the community floods, or, you know, if we're able to build a packet of letters, then it may or may not influence the decision from the federal government. So that is one area where we are asking for, you know, community to spend a little bit of time to craft a letter, give your boots on the ground experience. It could really potentially influence that decision. And I do just want to clarify that I believe that the county and the state have, while we may not have dedicated as many resources as the community would like, I believe procedurally in regard to opening ourselves up for federal funding, we've done all of the steps correctly. The state declared an emergency within hours of the fire starting. The chairman issued a disaster declaration on behalf of the county as soon as the fire started. So all of these things, the state and local and state and counties have done all that we can do in regard to setting ourselves up with the federal government to get those reimbursements. Last but not least, I'll just reiterate what Commissioner McFeeder said. It takes a lot of courage to come here and to speak up and to tell your story and to express your concerns and to feel that emotion publicly. So thank you. Thank you for being a voice on behalf of the Beulah community. We have not forgotten about you guys. You know, the gentleman said Pueblo hasn't done anything. I roundly reject that. We've done a lot and we will continue to do it. And I just want to thank you for being here, to especially you, Ms. White, for being a voice of Beulah and for being an advocate of your community. We need you to partner with us, right? This is not, like you said, this is not a blame game. We have to figure out paths forward together. So thank you again for being here. We appreciate you. I believe the request was to have them by Friday, but it may have been the 31st. I'll get clarity on that. I would say Friday to be extremely safe. Yeah. And you know, if you want to send them in paper, that's fine. We can gather them. If you want to send them via email, but there is a pretty seamless process by which our federal delegation is gathering those correspondences to pass them on.
Just a moment.
Yeah, can you keep it very, very brief
I
and just state your name for the record?
My name is Lori Ann Santini. I live at 5657 North Creek Road. My house was lost in the fire and my property is impacted greatly by the flooding. I'm coming here to represent Beulah for their mental health at this point in time. My first day in the fire service was 9/11. I am a ground zero responder, and I can tell you now that what I am seeing is miles beyond what we as responders were impacted by being at ground zero. We were prepared. That is what a first responder does. Unfortunately, we have 784 people, give or take, that have never in their life been prepared for this. Even the firefighters are not prepared for the horrors that we have seen in the last 57 days. Our senior citizens don't know where to reach out. They don't know to call the tax assessor's office to have the valuation for their property lowered. We also are seeing essentially zombies. We're walking around trying to help each other because that's all we can do at this point in time. We are isolated by a 23-mile span between the next city and us. So I do thank you, because I live right there at the bridge at North Creek. I thank you for all of the excavation and the clearing because it's constant. I hear it at my house. Well, I hear it at my camper. But in either case, the mental health of our valley is significantly decreasing. So that's all I
Thank
wanted
you.
to say.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and if you don't mind, I can get with you right after this, or you can get with Josh and maybe we can make a PSA about something there too, and get with, one of the organizations, whether that's Health Solutions or another, to see what we can come up with there as well. So appreciate it. Paul, do you have anything
I
else?
don't have anything else.
Yeah. I would just really quickly echo what my colleagues had said about our appreciation for all of you coming in here. It takes time out of your day. It takes courage to stand up to a microphone and speak publicly. And we certainly appreciate that. We need that. We cannot do our jobs if we are not hearing from the community. That at the end of the day, that is what we are, is we are representative for all of you. You pay our salaries, you pay all the bills around here. It is our job to listen to you, so we appreciate y'all very much. And just the gentleman had mentioned earlier, our thoughts and prayers are with the two troopers that were shot this morning. I think one is in more serious condition than the other, but we need to keep all people that are victims of travesties like that in our hearts. So we appreciate it, and we appreciate all of you. Please hold us to task, and please keep coming in and letting us know beyond just this on everyday occurrences in this community. So our next meeting will be August 27th. I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned.